What's up, guys? It's Jack McNeil, or LB Talk 123 here. Sorry if my voice gets annoying. I do have a cold I'm battling right now. Not a good time of the year for that. But before we get started today, I want to say follow me on Twitter at LB Talk 123 and check for the recent updates on a podcast I'm in the developing stages right now. So definitely check out for that on Twitter. Again, let's get into the news here. Enough promotional talk. Now, the Yankees have made some bold headlines today. Not necessarily because they spent some money actually this offseason instead of losing out on guys like Eric Chavez and Jeff Kemminger, which they did. Those guys got multi-year deals except for Eric Chavez, who signed with the Diamondbacks, more because of the environment. Going to Arizona, it's close. He lives in Arizona. It's very warm there. And I think it's less pressure because, he'd be going to the Yankees to be their starting third baseman until A-Rod comes back. So a little background information. You probably know that, of course, A-Rod is hurt. He's going to be having surgery in January and won't be back until mid-season. It might be All-Star break a little sooner or maybe even later. You really don't know. He has been known to come back very quick from injuries and works extremely hard to get back. But, following the collapse of the Yankees last season, which really sparked from Derek Jeter's injury, everything was looking very good. You have Royal Ibanez come up huge, have these heroic, historic moments, only to lose Derek Jeter and the game very quickly. The Tigers, they played a very good series, but, the Yankees looked like they got the wind knocked out of them. I mean, simple as that. Their offense was not there. They had 4 or 5 guys that were not hitting at all, striking out a bunch. And I think you start hearing these kind of radical trade rumors of, Curtis Granderson. Yeah, it's possible, but not likely at all. I mean, especially after the Yankees have signed Kevin Youkilis. The only way the Yankees would trade some of these guys that are costing a lot of money is if they were really in a desperate state. And this is not a move for a desperate team at all. This is a move to replace an all-star, future potential Hall of Famer who's hit over 600 home runs and has been injury-plagued over the last few years, is getting older, his knees are getting worse and worse, he's had hip problems, and he's now having another surgery. By doing so, the Yankees, instead of being able to replace him with Eric Chavez, who I thought would have been a much better option for the Yankees, is a guy who cost the Diamondbacks $3 million. The Yankees should have just gone up to 5. I mean, I don't see how Eric Chavez, although he lives in Arizona, would have rejected a $5.5 million deal from the Yankees. Yes, it would have been overpaid, but instead of seeing this, I mean, they're paying $12 million to fill in for third base. They obviously do believe that Kevin Youkilis is not going to be the Kevin Youkilis of the first half last year. He's going to be the Kevin Youkilis of the second half. Because although the average wasn't that much higher, the power was way up. And anyone who hit 15 home runs in, half the season for the White Sox, it really shows that in Yankee Stadium, they believe that he could hit 26 to 30 home runs, and that would be huge for the Yankees. That would be a much better option than Eric Chavez, I would say. But Chavez had good defense, and he hit very well, so nothing against him at all. But there's a lot of risk with Youkilis as well. The Yankees do have a lot of money going off the books after next year, so while the risk is there in whether they win the division or not, if you're looking money-wise, one-year deals, there's not many bad one-year deals. Now, this could be a bad one. If he really struggles, gets booed, gets hated on because he was a Red Sox, and gets injured. I mean, this is a guy who has been injured a lot. The last time he didn't go on the disabled list was in 2008. The last time he played over 120 games was in 2009. He's never played 150 games in his career. And the Yankees need someone who can at least play 120 games, in my view, at third base. And I think that if he can stay healthy, he's going to keep playing third base. And A-Rod's just going to fill in that DH role. They're going to have a platoon. Kevin Youkilis can play first base certain nights. You have Mark Teixeira. I mean, it's a nice trio to be able to have kind of shifting around with the DH spot, and that's a flexibility that National League teams just don't have. So you looked at who was going to go after him. I think it would make sense for American League teams to go after someone who can play first and third and can DH. So it doesn't surprise me that he signed with the Yankees, and I think it's a nice addition for the Yankees team. He can provide some great offense, but the problem is, again, he's getting older. He's a late bloomer. He doesn't have a great body, so it's not like he's going to be in his prime for a very long time. He's already declining stats-wise, and he doesn't have the best athleticism. He can play defense, but he's prone to injury, so there's definitely some injury risk here for the. Now, after this signing, the Yankees do look a lot better. In my view, their lineup looks, pretty solid, especially when you take in a factor that they are very close to signing Ichiro. When you get Ichiro out of the way, you don't need to worry about that extra outfield bat. You now have a third baseman who can be a DH and can be a first baseman. You look, pretty solid going into 2013. Do they look as good as they were going in 2012? people could argue that. Having Hiroki Kuroda, he's 1 year older, but he's been extremely durable. That should help. Mariano Rivera, we'll see how he does. They definitely had to pay a lot for him. Derek Jeter hopes to be back, and he said for sure he'll be back by the start of the next season. So there shouldn't be too many worries when it comes to the shortstop position. But again, there's always risk with injury. You just never know. They do have some backup infielders, Eduardo Nunez, but he's not a starting shortstop by any means. He really is a backup. Their outfield, of course, with Granderson and Gardner, and if they can get Ichiro. Otherwise, I mean, they don't have many guys there. And this is not an outfield from a few years ago where they were able to have Swisher and Granderson and Gardner. I mean, that was a great outfield. That had a lot of power, good average with Swisher, and then you had just a ton of speed with Gardner. So, again, this Yankees team is going to have to go through this. As an organization, they're suffering from all the contracts that they handed out with all these no-trade clauses, with the A-Rod contract. They're definitely suffering. They're not able to go out and get the young starters like a Zach Greinke, like a Josh Hamilton even, for the outfield, he would just mash in the Yankee Stadium. He would hit 50 home runs easily with that left field porch. I mean, he would just absolutely kill it. And these are guys that normally are pursued by the Yankees, but because of their financial problems, trying to stay under that $189 million luxury tax, where the Dodgers just don't care about it all, they're forced to go through this. But still, getting guys like Kevin Youkilis, that's really nice. A lot of teams would love to get those additions. So for the Yankees, it might be a backup option. For a lot of teams, they would really appreciate having $12 million to spend on it. That being said, the Yankees do shed just a ridiculous amount of money from their payroll after this year. So they will be able to go out in the free agent market. They'll be able to lock up guys like Robinson Cano. They should be able to work more like the New York Yankees. This offseason has been very rare. They've probably looked into a lot of different trades to get creative because, honestly, they see the AL East is getting better and better. The Rays look extremely good for 2013, even after trading James Shields. You have the Baltimore Orioles, who have yet to really make an impact into this offseason. The Red Sox are looking better. We'll see how they do. It's really an experiment there with all these guys that try to turn this toxic clubhouse into a fun place to be, a better atmosphere for the players, and some veteran leadership. And then you have, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays. I've talked a lot about them, so I'm not going to waste the last few seconds of the video talking about them. But it's going to be a very fascinating division to watch. This was a nice addition by the Yankees, a bit of an overpay. Obviously, this market has been extremely inflated. But, let me know what you think as a Yankees fan or as just a baseball fan. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at LBTalk123. Thanks, and stay tuned for more videos.